Well, with all this North Korean stuff going on at the moment, I thought it would be a good idea to actually talk about how prepared are you with a gas mask. So what I want to cover in this video is things a lot of people don't really think about. I mention them normally across several videos, but it's one where I think lots of people don't consider them, and that could be a fatal mistake if they were, actually planning on using a gas mask in a survival scenario. So this video is essentially going to count up different reasons, and you need to think about those. So firstly, do you have your gas mask ready, and do you carry it on you? So this is only really appropriate for the people in the countries near North Korea that could be hit by some sort of biological or chemical weapon in a missile, but it's just, in general, it's something you should consider if there is some sort of threat. Now, you either need it in a satchel or around your neck like this on the Israeli mask. A satchel designed for gas masks is better. You can store the mask in there with spare filters, and it doesn't look suspicious if you've just got some sort of cloth bag, on your side like that. It looks less suspicious than carrying around a gas mask like this. But you need to have your mask on you if you bought one. It's no good having it at home, finding you're out in a city somewhere, some sort of bomb goes off and you're screwed. You have to have the mask with you at all times for it to be effective. Same goes for NBC suits. If you were planning on needing an NBC suit, you would need to have the NBC suit with you. Again, it's no good not having it with you. As I've said, I personally have the opinion that when you get to the chemical weapons that are so nasty you die instantly if you don't have a full body suit on, your survival odds are probably so low it's not worth worrying about too much. As I've said in other videos, what's a good idea is to get full body waterproofs, because it's much easier for a civilian to put them on and take them off quickly than it is to actually get the full rubberized suits. So I wouldn't worry about, the protection from those too much. I would just focus on getting something you can carry on you conveniently and put on quickly if you are going to worry about that. Next thing is making sure your mask fits you properly. Lots of people I talk to on here have masks that have poor fitting and don't want to do anything about it. You need to get a mask that fits you. It's one of the reasons I recommended this to preppers the other day, the Israeli civilian mask, Shalom 4A1, because it has a one-size-fits-all straps for adults. So obviously, if you have a one-size-fits-all mask, it should fit you no problem when you do a fit test. If you get a mask that's not the right size for you, you don't bother finding that out before you actually have to rely on it, you're dead. Simple as. And going on to that, make sure you get a mask where you can find filters for it easily. Now, I covered this the other day when I did a video about the GP5, but 40mm GOST filters are hard to find. These are actually 40mm GOST I've got on here at the moment, but they're modern Polish ones. But that being said, you can very easily find NATO threaded mask filters because every nation really uses them, and some industrial masks take 40mm NATO filters. This is a good mask because it takes both NATO and GOST filters due to a special sort of intake. But people have been saying, oh, my GP5 filter, my GP5 fits NATO filters fine. No, you're wrong. What you need to do is do a pressure check with some sort of very strong smelling substance, and you'll find you'll smell that substance, because a NATO filter can't fit in the GP5. It's impossible. All you're doing is bodging it on and giving yourself the illusion that it works, and it won't work, so you'll die. It's simple as, don't kid yourself if you're taking your safety seriously. You can brag all you want on the internet that your GP5 does fit a NATO filter, but you're going to die if you have to rely on it, so don't do it. Just simply get a modern NATO mask that takes NATO filters, or stockpile a load of modern GOST filters. It's your choice. Or, as I've said to other people, get an industrial mask where you can easily get filters that fit it and use the industrial mask, such as the 3M full face masks, because you're always going to have a similar priced filter that's easily available if you get an ABEC with a particulate protection one on. So I like 40mm NATO because it's easy, even though I'm showing you a GOST one here, it's essentially the same thing when you come to this mask. But yeah, so make sure you've got a mask ready, that you carry it on you. Make sure it actually fits you properly, that you know how to put it on as well. It's no good if there's some sort of bomb going off, you've got 10 seconds to get gas on and you're sort of doing this. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing, don't know what I'm doing. No, you have to be drilled to just be able to do this. Get the mask on, and as you see, I sort of failed that. So you have to practice when it comes to these masks. You need to be able to just simply go and you're good. But if, like me, on the first attempt you know, getting it everywhere, that's not good enough. So what you need to do is, if you have a preferential mask, this isn't my actual preferential mask. Like as I said before, my Avon CT12 or my Shalon F2A4 are my, not Shalon, sorry, F2A4. My, I've got a name for Shida, yep, F2A4. They're my favourite masks. So they're the ones that I have practiced to put on and take off, and they're ones I actually, I think, carry satchels. But in this video I was illustrating this one because it's actually a good mask. But again, that's still excuses. I should be able to put this on quickly and effectively. If you can't do that, as said, you're in trouble. So there's lots of things to consider. Like lots of things, it's saying if you're buying a AK or an M16 AR-15 for survival reasons, you need to practice with your gun. You can't just simply buy the gun, stick it in a cupboard and then say, oh, when the time comes I can shoot accurately with it. No, you need to practice. So with gas masks, you need to practice putting them on under stress, you know, taking them out of the bag, putting them on under stress, changing the filters, which is another thing I want to come to. Make sure you get a mask where you're comfortable changing the filters wherever they are on the mask. Because simply, let's say I put this one on again. So I've got this mask on. Now what I need to be able to do is take this filter off and put it back on. Let's say this is a new filter I've now got. See, it's not as easy as it looks, but there we go, it's going in now. So you need to practice doing that, because if you find that you're in some sort of scenario, your filter's running out and then you can't get your new filter on, you're dead. Simple as. So again, that's something you really do need to practice if you're trying to survive with a gas mask. You need to know the routine of putting it on and off, changing filters. It'd be probably worth looking into decontamination stuff as well, but I think in some sort of major event you would have maybe soldiers around or police that would help decontaminate you. As said, some nations do issue gas masks to their civilian populations in high-risk areas, but I would not rely on my government to give me a gas mask. Because even if they did have your best intentions at mind, which I'm very sceptical about with a lot of governments, I think what will actually happen is they, you know, think about issuing them too late, and if the bombs are already dropped, it's no good them saying we'll post you one that you can put on. You're long since dead before that will arrive on your doorstep. So, again, as sort of to sum up this video, the survival points I think you need to think about with a gas mask, as well as I haven't really said this in the video, but you do need to test the mask works first, like with the fit test. You also need to make sure the seals are alright, so you need a strong smelling substance for that. I know I did sort of mention that, but I really need to rub that in. Don't give yourself the illusion, if you have a Russian mask, that you can bodge a NATO filter on and it will work. It seems to work because it's blocking about 99% of incoming air. That 1% will kill you in a, you know, actual scenario. You can't smell that 1% unless it's a very strong smelling substance you've sprayed, because the rubber of the mask has a stronger smell than what's coming in. But as soon as you do it with some of the actual proper mask fitting chemicals, or simply just saturating yourself in a small room with deodorant or air freshener, you'll realise that the mask is going to fail. So let's sum up. Make sure you have a satchel where you can, or some other way of carrying a mask, say it's in your car glove box if you're in your car, something like that. Make sure you have a way of carrying your mask on you in the event of attack, because having the mask at home is useless. Make sure you've got spare filters. If you run out, you know, with no spare filters, you're screwed. Make sure that you can easily change the filters and you've practiced doing it, as well as practice putting the mask on under stress, because in the event of something actually happening, you're probably going to be shaking a bit and going ooh, 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 as you try and put the mask on. So make sure you've practiced all of that. Make sure, like I said, if you are going down the NBC suit route, you've got something you can get on quickly and you have it with you. The reason I recommend waterproofs as opposed to an NBC suit is for most people putting on a raincoat they're far more familiar with than buttoning up a big suit and tying it up. And make sure you've got the spare filters and you know how to take them on and put them off. And that's pretty much it. But as I said, lots of people don't ever seem to consider those, and this is why I sort of get quite annoyed. They'll come on the YouTube comments and say, oh yeah, I bought this mask and I'm all good to go. No, you're not. You need to practice with them the same as you would need to practice with a rifle to shoot accurately. You need to practice with a gas mask, putting on and taking off filters, changing the mask, you know, everything like that, because so many people seem to think you can just simply have a gas mask, leave it at home, and then it will protect you. Well, it's not going to really work like that, is it? You need to practice getting it on and off, and you have to have it with you, which I think is the most important factor. Now, I'm not going to lie, you know, I often go around without a mask on me. Why would I carry a gas mask on me? But if you are in some sort of scenario where you're likely to be hit with either a chemical terrorist attack, or, say for example, North Korea dropping bombs on everybody, you really ought to have a mask on you. So hopefully that's something to consider. If I've offended you, it probably means you're not practicing properly, because if you're doing all the points, then, you know, that's good. But if I've offended you, I'm not going to apologise, because it generally means that you're probably doing something wrong and you should correct it, not, you know, saying I feel offended that you've told me that not practicing my gas mask is good enough, and I'm still going to not practice my gas mask. So hopefully that video summed it up for you nicely. You need to do all these things and it might save your life, and in general, practice makes perfect, so make sure you do keep practicing to do all the gas mask drills and everything to survive.